What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Steve Nasatoski here of the Maize and Blue Review. We're taking a look at the red zone offense, okay? Michigan does have a really solid offense this year. Number 3 in the Big Ten in scoring in the red zone, but 122nd in the country in overall touchdown percentage in the red zone. What's going on? What's the issue? Let's dive into the film. Got like 15 plays here. We're looking at all meaningful red zone plays. The good, the bad, what was missed, what was got. Let's dive in. Here we go.
With Anthony. Back-to-back pass plays. Outside to Cornelius Johnson. Made McFadden miss.
All right, it's technically outside of the red zone. All right, don't yell at me. I just like the matchup that Michigan found here, right? So only 4 rushers for Indiana, and you got man coverage with these gentlemen, okay? And this is the main one, right, that we want to look at. You have Cornelius Johnson here, your innermost wide receiver, and for the routes, you're on a little hitch and go. Interesting route here from Sanderstill. He's going to pose up like he's blocking here for the screen, the little bubble here that you have for Cornelius Johnson, and then he's going to take off, and that's going to force this guy to bail as well. This safety gets into his half here. He drops, and again, it's back to this combination here. You got Micah McFadden, who's Indiana's debatably best player, probably their best defender overall, on Cornelius Johnson. And that's just a mismatch, right? So the eyes for Cade McNamara, I think, are primarily to set up, it's probably twofold. He's probably looking what's happening with that safety. Is that safety dropping into that zone back here? And with that little pump fake, right? Because you had the little stop and go, hitch and go here for Angelo Anthony on the outside. He's probably checking to see the reaction there. So that combination of that corner not biting on that, the safety dropping here to this deep half, he's just reading kind of these defenders along this path and seeing that, yep, this should be open here since that initial pump fake. They're not biting on that, and they're not flying upfield here for this screen. Pass rush doesn't really get there. Decent job from Hayes. He could have done a little bit better on 41. 41 does eventually get to Cade. What is that? About 8 yards deep. So yeah, Hayes should do a better job on this. A little bit too much pressure. You do keep Haskins in. Everyone else, you have plenty of bodies here to protect the other 3. But one-on-one matchup here that Hayes could have done a little bit better job on in pass protection. He does get a little pressure there. Given it's a pretty simple pass and a pretty clear throwing lane, not the biggest of deals, but obviously you want your left tackle to be doing a little bit better there one-on-one on 41. But Michigan gets what they want, right? Man coverage here, and right at about here, it's good ball placement right in front of Cornelius Johnson, and now this is exactly what you want. Look at the separation between Cornelius Johnson and McFadden, right? That's at least 5 yards. And if your debatably best wide receiver cannot make a linebacker miss, then what are we doing here, right? So that's what this play is designed to do here. Boom, he puts his foot in the ground, cuts back inside, and now you've won, right? All that green grass, you're guaranteed at least 5 yards here, and he goes and picks up 7. So good job there, kind of shedding off 21 as well with that move, and he actually picks up 8 yards. So well designed. Michigan identified the man coverage there, mismatch for Cornelius Johnson, and he picks up 8 yards.
Play with tempo. Back to the ground they go. Haskins. McFadden sweeps in there.
Just not great, right? This is zone blocking up front here, and Indiana does a good job shutting this down. So they're sending McFadden off the edge here. He's just screaming down the edge, and then they're bringing the safety here, number 1, as the overhang. So in case this is a read over here, obviously McFadden screaming down the line of scrimmage here, that would necessitate a keep, right? So Haskins would go here, McNamara would keep, but with this safety screaming down here, this would be a dead play if this is a quarterback keeper. Now, because he's screaming down here, that opens up some future play design, right? You can release like Seltzer here up the seam, and he would be wide open because he's also heavily reacting here, so some RPO action could be possible. On the outside, you could have a skinny post or a slant route here to take advantage of this safety coming down to the run action very hard. But those are sort of the RPOs that you would have to incorporate based off of this 1-2 action here, right? These guys flying up here takes away this run. And if we move the tape forward here, we can see McNamara's not even reading anything, right? He's not, if this is an actual read or any RPO, his eyes are just straight down the line, right? He's not actually reading anything to do with 47 or number 1 here. These guys are just free to do as they please. So that already kind of dooms this play, right? If I move it forward here, you're going to see that play's kind of already dead. You know, unless Haskins has a really good hold to hit here. 47 is the first guy making contact. So what else is going wrong here? So let's look at the blocks here for Michigan. Zinter one-on-one here. Seltzer has to get his head across here. He doesn't. I'll get to that in a bit. Stuber has a free release. He's going to initially help here on the double with Zinter before reaching for middle linebacker here. Double here between Keegan and Vastardis. Keegan will want to drop off. He can't, just based on this initial action of the defensive tackle. So Vastardis will look to get the backside backer. There goes my marker. And it's just how it goes sometimes. And on the outside, you're going to have Ryan Hayes here. He is picking up one-on-one, and this guy makes the best play. Let's actually start on that defensive end that Hayes is trying to block here, right? That guy just ducks inside. So Hayes' first step, obviously to the outside here, based on the alignment of number 13, but he ducks inside. Mr. Armbands there, number 13. Good move there to get inside. And now you have both edge rushers, right? Now you have number 13 screaming down. You have McFadden coming down, and Haskins is forced up the middle here. Okay, so that's the main thing that blows this up. Otherwise, blocking's fine. The only other thing is Seltzer fails to get his head across, right? You can see Seltzer, his head to the right side here. That gives just enough crease with Stuber releasing to get to the second level here. There's going to be a crease there as we're going down the line here. Because his head is not across the body, that defensive end is able to get in there and stopgap any potential moving forward here, right? If Seltzer is able to get his body turned around and edge this, then you could potentially have a block in the second level here, block here from Zinter, and you could be good. But because Seltzer doesn't get his head across, as well as the additional just kind of RPS wins here for Indiana, as well as the win from number 13 against Hayes, it's just three things that really converge to meeting Haskins in the backfield here.
3rd down and 2. McNamara works out of the shotgun. Here comes Haskins, crashing ahead to get a first down.
Nothing fancy here, right? 3rd and 2. Michigan struggled in short yardage situations in general. This one's all about push. You got 2 double teams to focus on here. Right here on the right side, and then between Vastardis and Keegan right here. These two double teams. Then the third block to pay attention to is Honigford going to meet McFadden here flying up on the edge. Okay, with these 3 blocks, this is where Haskins is going. Just inside zone, just get into this pile, focus on your double teams, make sure that you can get just a yard push. That's all you need. Get a yard push. Don't let anybody leak through, right? Nobody leaking through, and that will allow you to continue to churn, move those legs. And you can see he's about half a yard away when he initially makes contact with the massive bodies there. So really good movement there from the right side. You got Zinter, you got Stuber there. They're doing a really good job on that defensive end, right? He is reset beyond the line to gain, right? This guy didn't really stand a chance, and you got 2 guys who have already gotten 2 yards of depth on this guy. So that's the primary block here. And then on the outside, I mentioned Honigford, really good job. McFadden's really flying up here. Good pop, good initial pop here from Honigford. And he forces McFadden to try to spin away from that. As soon as you force a defender in a short yardage situation like this to try to spin away to make a play, that means you're doing something, right? McFadden has to spin right there. He's not going to be able to stop any momentum with that spin move. So that's a really good job from Honigford at the point of attack as well. Keegan and Vastardis, they could have done a little bit better, right? 94 there, big nose tackle. He's able to sneak his way kind of through that double team, and he makes initial contact with Haskins. But that's why you have a guy like Haskins to push the pile, right? At that point, you've gotten enough buildup, right? Because of that extra yard or so that the offensive line have gained in their blocks here. You have that initial yard of momentum so that when you hit that massive bodies right there, boom, you actually have enough momentum to continue to carry you in the right direction. So this is just about keep the feet moving, stay engaged on your blocks, don't let anybody leak through. And if you hit that body about 1 yard, half yard away from the line to gain, odds are you're going to be able to continue on past that first down marker, and that's what happens.
Work off the field to handle the load on it.
He's got it again, but he's hit right.
Indiana knew this was coming, right? They're flying off the edge here, bringing this defensive back on a blitz. He's scraping down the line of scrimmage, and then you'll have Micah McFadden off the edge in case there's any quarterback keeper here, right? You'll see the eyes of McNamara going to this area. He's not reading a single guy. He's reading this area, what is going on the edge here. But I don't think this is an actual read because he's not doing anything, right? He's still giving this ball here, and right here, X marks the spot. This is where contact is made, a yard behind the line of scrimmage. If he's actually reading this, a couple things should be happening, right? One of two things. Either he should be keeping it here. Maybe he read that both this guy was screaming off the edge, this guy was coming, and that's not worth it, right? I'd rather hand the ball off, give the chance for my running back to make that guy miss. That seems likely, right? Because on the outside, you have these guys blocking as well. They're not running routes. The likelihood of this being an RPO in this instance isn't there, right? Because they're blocking, that's just not what's called here. So this is seemingly just inside zone with the eyes either to read or to make it, to try to hold up those defenders to make it look like a read. But given the lack of options for McNamara here, it doesn't seem like it's an actual read for him despite his eyes over towards that boundary, right? Maybe he's hoping that just the presence of him looking over here will get these guys to halt, right? And not come screaming down, and that the eyes here enough will give enough of a pause for Haskins to make something happen, okay? So maybe that's the overall goal here. Now, one thing I'll say, you could have some options here, right? Because you do have this safety coming down here to replace this curl flat area. What happens if Andrel Anthony runs a quick slant right here, right? Let's just move forward with that theorize here, right? Say McNamara keeps, and Andrel Anthony, instead of right here, he's cutting right, boom, right here, right? There might be a window right here for that to be thrown. I think the even better option here, which isn't likely because Michigan has Trent Jones here in an 80 jersey, so he is eligible, but he's coming down to block here. What if he slips out on a little seam route, right? Again, an RPO action here. If McNamara is reading this, right, what's he reading? He's reading, boom, this guy's flying down, this guy's coming up. If I have my tight end here faking out to block here, right here, look, the safety is completely vacating and completely open part of that field, right? So that's another area where Michigan, are they holding that back? Why would they, right? So those are answers that, or those are questions I don't have answers to. So as far as the actual blocking, it's not all that sophisticated, right? Looking at the front side here, double team right here, boom, boom. You don't really have anyone actually for Trent Jones to block. He's going to get to the second level here with Stuber. 1-1 block here. Keegan's on kind of a double here. He's going to release, trying to get to this backside linebacker, and then blocks here. So it's pretty straightforward from a blocking standpoint. Michigan has the numbers outside of, obviously this guy flying off the edge, he's not accounted for. So this is more an RPS win for Indiana. As I said, the blocks are all there for a crease to be opened up here, right? But again, even if this crease is here, you will have McFadden able to be in a position as well as this guy screaming down. So this is more of just an RPS win. You'd like to see Vistardis and Keegan do a little bit better here on their blocks. These guys get upfield, and both Keegan and Vistardis not able to stay in front of those guys either. So poor blocking in a couple areas, but this is more just a good call from Indiana, and Michigan seemingly doesn't have the reads on here to appropriately punish this aggressiveness for Indiana with an RPO that could potentially be an easy touchdown if it was called here.
Here it comes. McNamara looks to throw. He's pressed off his spot, throwing it out of bounds.
All right, 3rd and 6, flush from the pocket, right? McNamara is, so not the greatest. Let's first look at the route tree. Just a simple hitch here from Cornelius Johnson. Interesting little concept here on the outside. You're going to have just kind of a skinny post or seam route, actually more just a seam route here. Little out and up here from Sanderstill. This is kind of the number one option, and this is keyed off of this post route here from Andrel Anthony. Okay, so they're going to be dropping into single high, so he's going to gain some depth, get into the center of the field, and then they got man coverage here, and I believe man coverage here. Okay, so I believe this guy has one-on-one with the running back out of the backfield. He's coming out kind of as a little sit route here. And I think that's it. I don't know exactly what these two guys are doing. I'd have to watch that a little bit more. Yeah, they look like they're in zone here. Looks like this guy has the curl flat, and this guy has just center. I don't know. Center of the field here, and he's following the tight end on his seam route. So that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of the coverage overall. So let's look at the pass rush, right? What gets McNamara spooked here? So Little stunt here, only 4-man rush, but this guy's going to duck inside. He's ducking inside to get both Zinter and Stuber's attention, okay? And he does that successfully. He attacks this gap. Zinter, you can see his eyes point over here. He has to help Stuber on this block. And that's all to create this sort of diversion on the other side, or the main attack, I should say. This defensive tackle is going to attack the outside shoulder here of Keegan. This guy's slanting hard inside here to get Vistardis to follow him this way, right? Get motion this way. Hayes will be assisting here on this guy, but this is the main thing. Defensive end, get him looping through the A gap. Because this guy is slanting hard this way, because this guy's attacking this gap and trying to take up both of these guys, that should leave a wide open gap here for the pressure of this defensive end. And it works, right? Let's move forward. Here you can see this is the response that they wanted. Vistardis follows this nose tackle there a little too long, right? He's still following him, not passing off quickly enough to Keegan there. On the other side, you have Zinter helping out Stuber, and look at just the kind of gates opening up, right, for that pass rush of that defensive end, and he's free, right? And that's immediate pressure, very, very quick. Right as soon as McNamara gets into his 3-step drop, he has to vacate, right? So he's not able to even get through his first read here to understand what's going on. So his first read, and we'll show this on the next view, is this safety, right? He wants to make sure this safety is getting to the center of the field, because the route combo on the outside, that's going to open up the out and up and the post for Angelo Anthony based on what the corner does out here. So he's also reading this. Is he obeying? Is he respecting this sort of seam that we have from our tight end here? If he doesn't get enough depth over here, there could be a crease here, right? So if he is not appropriately covering the center of the field, then you'll have some leverage here for your tight end. Since he is getting to that center of the field, right, then he's moving over. You see the eyes here shifting towards this half of the field, and that's going to open up the route combo I'm going to show from this next angle. Okay, so now eyes were first at the center, right? Now his eyes are shifting over here because of that safety being in the center of the field. This route from Angelo Anthony is vacating this whole half right here, this whole part of the end zone, and you have Sainer still running this out and up, right? Because this man coverage is taking this defensive back away, because the seam right here is taking away the center safety, you should be able to win this with Sainer, and Sainer does win this, right? It's a good route from him, good sell with the eyes there from Sainer looking to the outside, and he's won that, right? If there wasn't pressure here and McNamara is still in the pocket, he's able to throw to this area really adequately, because this guy, this is the center safety now, he is really late because he had to obey Schoonmaker on the seam route. So he's not going to be able to get over fast enough, and throwing right around this area should be plenty with the amount of space that Sainer still has. Now, because he's flushed, McNamara can't step into that throw, right? He can't throw to that area, and unfortunately it's incomplete. But you got the look you wanted. Just a good stunt and poor stunt pickup from Michigan.
Cade McNamara back to throw. Given time. Lofts one for the end zone. Schoonmaker with a diving try.
Heck of a catch from Schoonmaker, just too far outside, okay? So Indiana, what are they doing? They're sending 3 on pressure here. They're going to keep up this defensive end. He's not actually going out. He's going to fake it and then go up here. They're bringing 1, 2, 3 with kind of a slant to the left. Then they're going to bring a linebacker here on the right side here. So it's a good job from Michigan with Hayes keeping his head on a swivel, right? He recognizes late that these 3 guys are going this way. You're going to have this middle linebacker coming to the outside, and they're ready for it. Honigford as well. He's kept in to block. He's going to recognize no one here, and then he's going to try to assist on this linebacker as well. So overall pass protection, you know, you're keeping in a lot to protect, right? You got a lot of bodies for Michigan. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Only 3 on routes, and they're only bringing 4. So yeah, you should do a good job. But this is a longer developing play overall, and McNamara does have ample time to throw that, right? Maybe you could argue that Hayes should do a better job on this linebacker. I think he does a good enough job washing him inside to not affect the pass here. And it was a pretty accurate pass based on the route here. So speaking of the routes, you have Schoonmaker lined up as like this H-back here. He's going to run an out and up, and this is the design destination for this play overall. On the outside, you have Angelo Anthony, on the outside, you have Cornelius Johnson, I believe this is. He's running a post route, and similarly, Angelo Anthony on the inside here running a post route as well. And this is to vacate the guys in man coverage. Man coverage, man coverage. Get them out of here, right? Safety will be, you got one high safety as well, and that's what you want. One high safety. There should be plenty of room on the outside, one-on-one coverage, and Michigan must like their matchup here between Schoonmaker on this route and this outside linebacker in man coverage. So the thing that makes this play successful for Indiana is the lack of biting from this linebacker, okay? This linebacker here, because this route here, he's trying, Schoonmaker's trying to sell this out route. You can see the eyes, he's pointing outside, and he wants to get this linebacker to commit to this, think that this is going to be thrown, and then that'll open up the sideline pass there, right? That linebacker continues to get depth. He has his eyes in the backfield. He's able to stay engaged here, and he doesn't commit to that initial out route there from Schoonmaker. What that allows him to do, he has really great positioning against Schoonmaker now to push him into the sideline, right? He does a good job getting his body into Schoonmaker, forces him into the boundary, use the boundary as your defender there, and Schoonmaker needs to do a little bit better job of fighting into him, right? Start kind of inching towards the numbers a little bit here. You don't want to give outside leverage for the defender, but you need to challenge that, right? He's kind of allowing the defender to push him into the boundary instead of taking on that contact a little bit earlier. So this is more just better defense, right? You get what you want in terms of matchup, just really good coverage and forcing the tight end into the out of bounds area here. I mean, heck of a catch, right? We'll get another angle here. I mean, this is about as good of a catch as you can make, and just better coverage. So, you know, you get what you want. Sometimes the defense just makes a good play, and in this case, number 9 did it for Indiana.
9 catches in his career, and then he did that, granted out of bounds, but fun to watch. Haskins has it, slips a man, has the first down, hurdles inside.
Again, this isn't in the red zone, but you expect me to not include a hurdle from Hassan Haskins? Come on. All right, 4-man rush, 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in for protection for Michigan. Haskins, obviously the one getting thrown here. He's just coming out of the backfield. This is what's getting thrown. A little out route, top of the screen here. Indiana's dropping their linebackers into a zone here. They're all dropping around the first down marker. We don't really see the route combo at the bottom of the screen here. We do know that you're going to have a crossing route here from tight end. Going to have a little in route here from Sainristil, and something on the bottom, probably a post route we can't really see. Could just be a fly route from Cornelius Johnson. But that's what we get. So in terms of reads for McNamara, it looks like he's checking out probably this line, right? He's checking to see what this safety is doing and also this cornerback. His first read is probably on this out route. Actually, I think that out route is... Yeah, that out route is probably the first read for Andrel Anthony. Doesn't like the separation there. So then he falls down and says, okay, where's the zone, right? Who is covering my next level here on this side, right? He hasn't checked this side, but I'm guessing while he's reading this cornerback for his first read, Andrel Anthony, he recognizes, okay, I need to figure out what the appropriate read here will be in the case of this first one not being here. Now I can read this second level here and realize that he's going to have some space for his drop off for Hassan Haskins. So he does that, delivers it. And again, right now you're going to take this, right? 2nd and 10, it's going to be at least 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 5 or so. And then Haskins just shows why he's one of the best backs in the Big Ten with just this play, right? He picks up a lot of yards. At the time of catching this ball, a sane person would think, yeah, he might get 6 yards out of this, and that's an optimistic view, right? But he turns this into a huge pickup, 10 yards. He's at 15 yards now, hurdles a guy, and is down to the 4-yard line. So, I mean, this is just get the ball into the hands of your playmakers and let him make a play, right? And he's done this so many times, just hurdles guys, and it seems like the most efficient way to pick up additional yards, right? It's just crazy. So this is, you know, it's the second read. You live with this. You got good protection. Nothing else with it, kind of the zone that Indiana's looking at. Maybe you could argue that tight end was a little bit more open here on the crossing route, the drive route here. But really, get the ball into one of your best playmakers on offense. Get the ball in his hands. Let him see what he can do, and proves to be a really good decision here. And, you know, good attempt downfield initially from both Seltzer and Sainristil, recognizing as a catch. They're looking to get blocks. So that's, you know, that'll help open up this lane for Haskins. You know, they don't do a great job maintaining those blocks, but they do enough. They do enough to create that crease, and Haskins does the rest.
You tackle playing tight end.
He leads the way for Haskins. Sneaks through.
Just good old-fashioned goal line offense here. All right, let's move forward to the overhead view. You're going to be pulling both the guard, and it seems like it's on purpose that they're pulling Vistardis here, but you're pulling both your front side guard here as well as Vistardis here. He's going to be pulling behind and sealing on the inside here. And then you're going to have Seltzer, the lead block as well. So you're sending all of it this side. On the backside, as a result of this, cut block, cut block, cut block, right? Their main objective, do not let these three guys through. This guy doesn't matter. This guy doesn't matter as well. So cut out these guys, right? And just don't let them back through this way, right? You got to understand this is going to develop, right? There's going to be some time it takes for these blocks to develop here for Haskins on the front side. Don't let anybody flow here, otherwise this play is dead. So that's just the cut blocks you're seeing on the back side. Let's just roll forward and back to see that. Boom, cut block, cut block. Tough job from Zinter there, right? Because you have Vistardis who eventually will be working around this, right? He has to get the snap, work behind Keegan here on his pull, and Zinter has a big gap to close here. So he does a really good job working really hard, and it's a good assistance there from Vistardis to just stay there a little bit, allows Zinter to get his face across there. When I say face across, this is what I mean for Zinter, right? It's not an easy job. He doesn't need to do a whole lot. He doesn't need to move this guy backwards. He just needs to close this gap. Just don't let anybody through. And he does a really good job leading with his shoulder here, keeping his head to the inside here, not letting anyone cross his face. So that's a really good job from Zinter there, closing that off. And then front side is kind of the opposite, right? Create this wedge on the front side. So backside, you're kind of closing this gap from your two pullers here. On the front side, again, do the same thing but this way, right? Drive everyone this way. One-on-one block for Hayes, Honigford, Schoonmaker, and just drive those guys inside, right? Close that gap, form that wedge, and that'll create a good area for your pullers to come. Here comes Keegan. He's going to pick up the first guy. You got Seltzer and Vistardis coming behind. So let's look at Keegan on his pull. Boom, does a good job. He gets the edge-most defender there. Good job there. Seltzer is reading that block, right? What is Keegan doing? As soon as Keegan engages here, Seltzer's the next guy through. He comes here. I like what he's doing as well. He notices Vistardis is going to be coming here as well. So he's using his arms here. He's being patient, and he recognizes, okay, this is the gap I need to put my head through and make contact with this guy, right? Maybe be a little bit more decisive at this point. Instead, he kind of stutters there a little bit and makes that decision a little late, but he still does make contact. He's the first guy making contact with that defender, and that allows Haskins, again, momentum that he can retain because he's not the first guy making contact with an Indiana player. And then late, you do have Vistardis kind of scraping over, right? He's passed off successfully to Zinter here. He's scraping over. After Seltzer gets through, he's going to be the last guy picking up this backside linebacker flowing to this play. So it's good patience from Haskins, recognizing this. The play develops how you want it to, and Haskins is able to walk into the end zone relatively easy in this super heavy formation.
2nd down and 9. Bootleg. McNamara on the move. Lets it go. That's a touchdown.
Little waggle here. I love it. We haven't seen this much this year. So let's look at, I don't think we've seen this in a long time, honestly, but routes here. A little out route on the single wide receiver side here. And then this is just levels concept on the other side, right? That's a little bit too narrow here. Let's go like this for a tight end on the cross, a little bit deeper here, and then back to the end zone on the outside, right? All doing the same thing off of this run action here for Haskins this way. Line are all blocking this way, right? You can see this as like a naked boot, right? And this, all of this action is just to get everybody flowing this way, right? Get everybody committed to this so that when you have this wave of wide receivers here at 3 levels, they're all reacting, right? They have to be like, oh crap, turn around, and their momentum is working against them, right? So they're good sell on the fake. And now you've won, right? Now you have them scrambling. And the way you know this is look at, for example, McFadden here, 47, right? You just have everybody kind of scrambling here for Indiana, trying to work their way back out to the zone that they're supposed to be responsible for. And that's across the board. And the main thing here to point out is the patience for McNamara, right? He recognizes that he probably has Schoonmaker, but not yet, right? He still has this guy in his path, and he just has to bide his time. Like right here, he just has to keep on this path, right? The more he runs, the more Schoonmaker runs, the more likely there will be a window to open for that pass. And it's not a very wide window. If we watch from this angle, right? Again, boom, sell it. Getting across formation. This isn't the easiest throw here for McNamara. He has to wait a good amount here, and it does just go past the outstretched arm there. So it's a good job, and that kind of 3/4 delivery that he has kind of assists him here, right? Gets a little bit more to the right of that linebacker. The other option could have been to flip this up a little bit, right? Not throw it on line there, and maybe throw it with a little bit more arc over top to not make this quite that close to this guy. So that could be a criticism here, but I think it's good patience from McNamara, recognizing, all right, what are my options here? He looked at the out route. You can see, okay, out route looks relatively well covered. This isn't going to be an option. Continues on his path, and then comes to his first option here, and he notices, yep, he's got he's got a good window that's going to be opening up here because that defensive back is following that out route, right? So just good patience, well executed, good catch, and that's 6.
Same is still the motion. Everybody moved.
So this is another big reason some of these red zone trips don't work, right? You have an end around here action, looks like something creative coming possibly, right? But then you just have the clap from JJ McCarthy, and you jump for the false start. So I know this isn't an actual play analysis, but when analyzing what your red zone trips look like, you can't gloss over stuff like this, right? Mental mistakes, execution mistakes like this sets your offense behind schedule. They're already where they don't want to be here at 2nd and 9, only a 1-yard gain on first down. Add in now the fact that you get, this seems like probably an issue with the center not snapping because you have 4 people jumping for a false start here, right? So snap count just wasn't agreed upon, just wasn't communicated clearly. And now instead of 2nd and 9, where you're already slightly behind schedule than where you want to be, right? You'd rather have 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5 to be truly on schedule. Now you're at 2nd and 14, okay? So this will be really important in the next couple plays on what you have to do to pick up the first down. Things become a lot more difficult with that 5 extra yards.
2nd and 14. Play action, another corner blitz. This time he gets hit as he throws, and it's in.
You had what you want, right? JJ McCarthy had the right read here, had the guy he wanted in terms of routes, just 2 dig routes here, relatively deep dig routes here, longer, developing inside release flag route here. He's going to be heading towards the pylon. For Indiana, they're going to be sending corner blitz here. So they're sending 4 total on pressure. So it's going to be 1, oops, wrong color there. So really 5 on pressure. I should have said 5, not 4. I can count. So 5 on pressure, right? Bringing this corner. Michigan actually recognized that this is coming. Okay, so you're going to have cornerback coming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and Haskins, you can see his eyes. He's starting to look over here. This is where he's going to go and pick up this corner blitz. So the main guy to watch here is Stuber. Stuber is going to try to get some depth. You can see his eyes seemingly looking out a little towards that corner. I'm not sure if that corner threw him off, but Stuber just gets way too much lateral movement to his right here, right? As soon as he's at this location, look at the dip of the inside shoulder here for 92, getting himself through this hole here, and Stuber's already lost, right? Look at his footwork. He's already cross-legged here. Him trying to return to this location to close that gap for that defensive end. That's just not going to happen, right? And that's the main area of concern on this play. That's what speeds JJ McCarthy up on his throw, because you had Haskins, right? Haskins appropriately came over, recognizes this blitz. He picks this up. If you have Stuber right here, you're keeping 7 in, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in on blocking, right? Double team right here, doing fine. Nothing's getting through on anybody else. This is the only thing that's your red flag, red star, whatever you want to call it. And that's what speeds this play up to an incompletion. And if you look at the route here for Johnson, right? Inside release flag route. Nice plant in the foot there. Here, just a really good fake, right? This just completely turns around number 0, this poor safety, right? And it's just such smart route running, right? That plant right there, that plant for Johnson, that gets number 0. Notice how he is now committing 100%. He's turning his hips all the way around here, thinking that Johnson is going to be cutting in on a post route or even an in route here. Completely schools him with that hard step right there. Boom. As soon as he gets to commit with that, he's also turning his shoulders a little bit. Johnson is there. Gets that second foot planted, and that allows him to really drive his foot into the ground and get some lateral movement there towards that pylon. So it's a perfect route, right? As soon as that outside step right there gets number 0 to commit, you've won that route and he is lost, right? Look at all that space. So this is just unfortunate that, Stuber generally been pretty good this year, but really borfed that pass protection. And as a result, the throw was sped up. And despite having the right location, the right receiver to throw to on this play with a great route, just kind of ruined it, right? So it's a bummer. And now you're at 3rd and 14.
Only 3 men rush this time. Underneath Wilson. Stopped by Noah Pierre.
All right, so this seems like it's designed to go to Roman Wilson all the way. Let's look at the routes real quick. Just simple fly route here, kind of a deep cross drive route, whatever you want to call that here. Haskins out of the backfield, he's going to just kind of sit here. And then the outside have this sort of seam here, and this is going to try to take out a couple defenders on his way here, Schoonmaker. And then just a simple outside release little hitch route, and then catch the ball here, and the goal is to get upfield after the catch. Okay, so that's the overall plan here with the initial read for J.J. McCarthy. He's looking over this all of the way. And just based on the route that's run from Schoonmaker, it seems like this is something that's designed to go to Rowan Wilson. You notice how he's purposefully getting in the way, right? Here's that first defensive back as the ball is being thrown here. He's purposefully getting in the way of this defensive back, and he's on his route here to kind of block this guy as well. So it doesn't really seem like he's running a route. Looks like he's more targeting. You see him square up for that defensive back as well. Seems like this is sort of looking like kind of like a tunnel screen, right? Where maybe this throw was a little earlier. You'd have an action here where Rowan Wilson could go around this and then follow the block to the outside, right? Because it's a little late, not enough time there, and Schoonmaker's already well past those defensive backs for any sort of post-catch options for Rowan Wilson or hopes to get past the sticks, right? So just given based off of the initial read, that seems like where this play is supposed to go all along. Indiana's only sending 3-1-2-3 on pass rush, dropping this guy back in his zone. And keeping 5 in protection, pass protection on this quick hitch isn't really a concern. The main thing I wanted to point at, remember that false start penalty a couple plays ago, right? Take 5 yards from the first down marker, right? Because it was 5-yard penalty on false start. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that would have been the 14-yard line here would have been the line to gain had that penalty not been enforced. And guess where he gets? He gets right about to the 14.5-yard line, right? Maybe even to the 14, depending on how friendly that spot is. So that just goes to show you, right? This wasn't a bad play. You get 6 yards, 5-6 yards on this play. And if you were on schedule, if you don't commit those mistakes before this play, this is, a promising opportunity to get back those yards and move the chains here. Now, you could argue that Hassan Haskins would have been an open option here. I'd argue that this linebacker would have been here to defend that. He's only looking this way because the ball is already being thrown out to the flat here. So I think this is about the best you could have done with this play design. Now, I also would have liked to throw past the chains here, right, past the 10-yard line. But again, that's not something that I can control. But I think there is a gripe there. But in general, don't commit that false start penalty. You execute this play well, would have gotten you the 6 yards necessary there on third down. Instead, or the 9 yards actually. Instead, it's 3rd and 14 instead of 3rd and 9.
In the red zone. On 2nd and 7, that's what they'll do. McNamara tiptoes away from a defender and heaves it out of bounds.
Appreciate the creativity here, right? Michigan's trying to give this little run fake option here. So you got both Keegan and Seltzer coming across the formation here. They're going to stop and pass protect here, but this is to try to sell a couple things. You're selling the initial fake handoff here to Haskins, and then the end around here to Roman Wilson, right? You have this, and then the key routes that you're looking at is Schoonmaker's going to come out looking like he's going to block right before heading up the seam here, target the end zone right around here. Similar sort of deal with Johnson. He's going to kind of fade out here, square up like he's going to block, and then go on a similar fade towards the corner of the end zone here. So let's just go through that, look at the play design there. Couple things to note here. Not the best job from Hayes, right? You have this outside linebacker flying off the edge here. Hayes needs to do a better job just staying in front of him, right? He loses contact. This guy gets outside, almost blows up this play, right? This is a long developing play action. You can't have your left tackle getting O-laid like that. He's very lucky that that gentleman didn't disrupt this play as these fakes were ongoing, right? He's right there, and Michigan got pretty lucky that he bit a little bit on that end around and didn't try to take out McNamara. Otherwise, it would have been a big loss. Other thing, Haskins, after the play action, he also could have done a better job against McFadden. McFadden's a really good linebacker, right? And he's able to get around to the outside here. Because of this pressure here that Hayes was not able to get, McNamara naturally has to fade back this way, right? Because this guy's in his lap. So Haskins isn't really expecting there to be like an issue if McFadden does kind of bounce around to the outside here. He could stay engaged a little bit better, but because of that initial pressure, that's forcing Haskins to block a little bit further to the outside than he was expecting that pocket for McNamara to be. So with this end around action, they're really, you know, this safety on this side of the field, number 0 here, he's flying up here off of this initial run action, right? He's reading this, he's probably seeing this guy coming, and he's filling with his run fill. Now this is the guy they're hoping to attack with this end around action to Roman Wilson. They're hoping that he fires up across the field here, flying up to address this, and hopefully out of the corner of his eye, you know, maybe he sees that this block is coming for him and tries to evade this block as well. And then by that point, it would be too late up the seam after this fake concludes, and McNamara would be able to drop it over the top, right? So this is really the key to the success of this play. This tight end is the number 1 option. Of course, you do have Johnson at the bottom of the screen as well, but that safety never leaves, right? Really good eye discipline, recognizing that this tight end is coming across his face here and that that's going to be someone he has to cover. So McNamara doesn't really ever come off of that read, right? Maybe right now he has probably already diverted his eyes from the tight end. He might be looking over towards Johnson here. That corner seemingly does a pretty good job on covering Johnson as well, right? Neither option seems to be a good one, and thus McNamara, feeling the pressure now from McFadden, throws it over the top of the end zone. So this is well covered. Good defense from Indiana. Could have done with better blocking from Ryan Hayes and Haskins on this one, but give credit to the defense of the Hoosiers. They were ready for this one.
McCarthy 3 for 6 through the air. They'll look to throw it here. He's sacked.
Pressure got there. Not the best pre-snap read here. For some reason, J.J. McCarthy, his initial read is over here. You got both this guy and this guy sitting here, right? So he looks like he's doing kind of a simple curl route. Maybe it turns into an out route here, but this is where it seems like J.J. McCarthy wanted to go with the ball. On the other side, you're going to have kind of a corner route, a simple hitch route, and then, oops, didn't mean that one. And then Seltzer's running an out route here. And this is probably where the ball should have gone. But the first read for McCarthy was out to the right side. Let's move forward. Just looking at that read, you can see not a whole lot going there, right? Based off of this, I don't know exactly what the route is that Johnson is looking at. It seems like just a hitch, right? So I don't know. It seems like a very risky throw, especially with this defensive back right here. If this is thrown right now, he could potentially have like a pick 6, right? So not what you want to be looking at if you're J.J. McCarthy. At the same time, if you're looking towards this other side, right? If these are your reads, if you're looking at this guy and maybe right here for J.J. McCarthy, you would see Seltzer coming open. Honestly, there's a lot of room up here for Rowan Wilson. And if we look at this defensive back, he's not checking back at the quarterback until probably right about now, right? So if that initial read would have been over to Roman Wilson, only now would that cornerback be able to break while J.J. McCarthy starting that throw. So Seltzer or Roman Wilson, seemingly better options here. The initial read there, J.J. McCarthy just doesn't come off it quick enough. And then he also gets pressured, right? And that's pretty quick pressure. So let's dive into what the actual pressure look is for Indiana. So this defensive tackle, his job, attack this gap. Get both Zinter and Stuber responsible for you. And I forgot to mention also Haskins coming out of the backfield on his route as well. So you don't have, he's not in for pass protection. And then you're going to have the linebacker here. He just wants to attack this gap right here as well. Okay, so attack this gap, get 2 people, attack this gap, get Vistardis committed here, and also make this just a tough job for Zinter in general with 2 guys attacking either end of his gap. And then they're going to loop around this guy for the A gap after this vacated gap from the linebacker. Loop this guy around and he should be free, right? And it's executed really well for Indiana. You can see Boom, Zinter, and Stuber are there. Initially, pretty decent pass off for Zinter. Should be probably a little bit quicker. As soon as he sees him tacking right between the 2 guys, Stuber recognizes, hey, you're going to have to pass off there. You see Zinter, boom, passing him off, trying to pick up 47, but a little bit too much penetration there. Vistardis loses contact, right? This is not a feasible pass off now for Vistardis. He's turned completely 90 degrees to the right here with this looping defensive end here. There's no way that you can expect your center to rotate and be able to pick this up adequately, right? He's already lost. This guy's done his job. Linebacker cannot be adequately picked up by Zinter here. Can't be passed off. And Michigan should have gotten called for a hold here, right? That's holding against Vistardis there and probably Zinter. But more on Vistardis there on the linebacker. So it's tough, right? Because it's not even the actual looper that gets there. This is just a really good job from the linebacker, just attacking this gap, getting through. And because Vistardis was late getting over on that kind of pass off, it's more just, again, a good blitz, well-timed stunt there for Indiana. He's able to get to the quarterback. So, again, thing of pressure getting home, Indiana dialed it up pretty well and able to execute it with a few really good players of theirs. And then just a missed read, right? If this is a quick first read to the other side, we're not talking about this pressure, right? If he's looking over here, he would probably recognize, hey, Seltzer's going to be here because this looks like this guy's manned up on this. And that could have been a good pre-snap read ahead of time. So, again, just missed opportunities, missed execution, a couple penalties, and a lot of these things are kind of racking up in the end zone here.
McNamara to throw. That's to the tight end. Touchdown.
Same exact route combination on this play than the one I just covered, okay? And it's really, really funny. I didn't actually look at that until I started analyzing this, but you're going to have Haskins out of the backfield here, this sort of hitch thing, and then he's going to turn it into kind of a fade here. This is going to occupy both of these defensive backs on this side of the field. Same route on the other side here. A little corner route here from Sainristil. I think it's Dalen Baldwin on a little hitch route, and then just a simple out route here from your tight end. And this is what gets thrown. Remember last time I was saying maybe the read should be on this gentleman, whether he is following to the corner route here. I can't speak. Or is he going to stay up on this out route? Because Michigan likes their leverage here, right? You have outside leverage for this out route, like the matchup against this linebacker in coverage with a well-timed throw. If this guy vacates, you should be good because you also have man coverage here. So it all depends on what this guy does. And you'll see initially just looking at the routes and the eyes for McNamara, that's who he's looking at. He's saying, where is that guy going? Okay, he doesn't look like he's breaking or going to be staying there. He's also probably seen this guy vacate, right? As soon as this guy vacates, that means there's going to be some responsibility from him on this corner route. Because there's that responsibility, because this guy's ducking out, you're going to have one-on-one matchup here. Again, you started with inside leverage for your tight end. You expect him to win this battle. And just seeing the hips of this guy, momentum of that, that is a good read for that throw. And that's the initial read, right? So contrast that with J.J. McCarthy's initial read. And again, if we go back to J.J. McCarthy's play, he was first initially looking at the single receiver side, and this isn't open at all, right? So based on alignment, I think K. McNamara probably made a better decision there just pre-snap on where his first read should go, reading that defense. So let's look at the actual protection. Little stunt here for Indiana on both sides of the defensive line. A little bit opposite. This guy's going to initially outside, then duck inside. This guy looping around. And then this guy's going to duck inside here. He's looping around as well. Relatively good protection. Stuber maybe could have done a little bit better there, but, you know, no issue with how quick this pass is. And nothing getting to McNamara at the time of the throw. And the throw is just really perfectly timed, right? At the time that Cade McNamara is loading up on this throw, it's right when he's making his cut, right? He's already made the decision based off of the eyes. Again, look at not just the alignment, because this guy is in position to potentially make a play on this, right? Just based on where he is on the field. But look at his eyes. Look what he's looking at. And that's what McNamara is also reading. What is this guy's body language telling me on his feasibility to make the play on this out route, right? You have outside leverage. Schoonmaker's going to have it. Well-timed throw. No chance for that linebacker to make a play on the ball. And really well thrown as well, right? That ball cannot be behind your tight end there. It's right on the chest. Really nice job and really well timed. So, again, there's your route combo. Hit your tight end right in the belly there. Allow him to dive into the end zone, and it works.